Hi everyone, welcome back to My Service Dog and Me. I'm Kate, and today we are going to be talking about the top things to focus on with a new or young service dog in training. Because my coaches and I have helped thousands of owner trainers at this point, and there are a few things that we always see as either lacking in teams leading to challenges or things that teams have that leads to success. So when people start they bring home their puppy or their new dog or they're going to get started in training, very often they ask the question, where should I start? What should I train first? And we see a lot of not misconceptions, but incomplete advice. We usually get answers like the basics, right? Sit down, stay, these kinds of things, or we see people say socialization, again, not incomplete or not wrong. Socialization is a huge thing, but there's actually things your dog needs to know in order to do socialization effectively. We also get let your dog be a puppy, which is also true. However, training should still start right away. So none of those answers are wrong. They're just not the whole picture. And so what happens is we see owner trainers become overwhelmed. And that overwhelm leads to freezing, so they just don't train anything, training too many things at once, or they don't prioritize the right thing with their new dog. Now, along with house manners and being able to live with your dog, because that's actually the most important thing. If you can't live with your dog because you're still struggling with house training or play biting or any of those types of things, then you need to tackle that, right? Like you have to be able to live with your dog. But when we talk about training, the best thing that you can teach your dog to be, the best thing that you can focus on is calm, confident, and focused in new places. Because I don't care what list of behaviors your dog knows. If he is calm and confident and focused in new places, that is far more important than having a long list of behaviors by a certain point in time. So very often we see handlers caught up in at 6 months, the dog should know this list of behaviors. But here's what I'm going to tell you as somebody who has evaluated dogs, trained dogs, helped owner trainers for years and years now. If I am going to choose a service dog candidate, I will every single time choose the 18-month-old who is calm, confident, and focused in new environments but doesn't really know any behaviors over the dog who has dozens and dozens of behaviors but can't be calm and confident or isn't focused in new places. That is what we're trying to build: calm, confidence, and focus. If you can get those three things down, the rest of your service dog training will come. And that is what you want to focus on early to set the stage for the rest of your training. So what do we train? What do? We work on focus and engagement. We work on taking food regularly, and we work on walking politely on a leash, because those are the three things that your dog needs to be able to do socialization, to learn how to relax on a mat, to learn healing, to learn his tasks, that kind of thing. Socialization, which we have all kinds of resources on this channel, as well as a full 2-hour webinar that you can watch on socialization. I will put all the information for that at the link below so you know exactly how you can get your hands on that. Socialization is the number one thing that you can do to ensure success for your service dog candidate. The number one thing. But in order to do socialization, he needs to have these three things, okay? So let's talk about them. Focus first. This is the ability to ignore distractions and pay attention to you for training, okay? That's what focus and engagement is to me. And without this, you're going to have trouble training anything else. We want a dog that wants to train with you. So dog with focus and engagement wants to train with you. That doesn't mean that you won't have distractions that you have to overcome or training challenges that you have to overcome, right? Every service dog I can think of at some point has at least one distraction that is quite challenging for their handler to overcome. Maybe it's other people, maybe it's other dogs, maybe it's squirrels, smells, whatever it is. But in general, a dog who has good focus and engagement skills wants to train with their handler. And there are multiple ways that we can do this. Now, one is engage, disengage. The engage, disengage game is fantastic. Look at that as a very similar game. We have a video on engage, disengage on this channel. This is one of the best things that you can do for focus and engagement. 2 is the attention loop. We also have a video on this channel on the attention loop. And 3rd is to learn how to be good at playing with your dog, okay? Because Play is one of the best ways that you can do a lot of things at once. You can use it to reinforce behaviors. You can use it for exercise. You use it to combat play biting. And it also teaches your dog that you're fun and that you're somebody that they should engage with. But here's the thing though. Most humans aren't actually very good at playing with dogs. Of all the handlers and all the owners I've ever worked with, I've only had a handful come into my program who were already good at playing with and engaging with their dog. So learning to be good at playing with your dog is a skill, and we regularly run play challenges in our free Facebook group as well as over in our academy to help our students really master getting their dog to engage with them. Now, also is to make sure that your training skills are good, okay? Because your training skills are a huge piece of your dog's ability to focus and engage. We're going to talk about this again here when we talk about food, which we probably should have talked about first, because if your dog won't take food as a reinforcer, it's going to be harder to teach him to focus and engage. But if your skills are bad, you're giving sloppy cues, you're not using a marker appropriately, you're not using a marker at all, your mechanics are sloppy, that will show up in a lot of dogs like distraction. I have had a lot of dogs come to me in person totally distracted, unwilling to train with their owners, and it's because their handler is too unclear. Okay, if you think about watching, and if you've been here a while, you'll have heard this example. Think about if you're watching TV and it starts to get really staticky and grainy. You're going to change the channel and you're going to go do something else. Okay? Whereas, I don't know how that happened. Whereas if the channel is coming in nice and clear, you can stay there and watch it. Your dog is doing the same thing. If your mechanics are sloppy, a lot of dogs are simply going to change the channel and go do something else, and it can show up as a lack of focus or a lack of food motivation. And we have lots of mechanics stuff again on the channel, and we're going to have more resources on that coming out as well. So we have lots of resources on that. But let's talk about the food motivation, because I also want to get to that walking politely thing without making this video too long. So taking food simply means taking food means you can reinforce them. If your dog won't take a food reinforcer, you're going to have a really hard time training him to be a service dog, because you are simply going to come into too many situations where you cannot play with a ball or a toy, you cannot deliver the right amount of praise. Teaching your dog to take food means that you can reinforce him. It means that you can help him create calm confidence. It means you can teach focus. It means you can teach all those behaviors that you need. Thinking about when you feed your dog in relation to training can help with this, as well as, again, making sure that your skills are good, okay? This is something that, again, we have other resources here on the channel. We go in depth in our academy, and we can help you with, as well as other members inside of our Facebook group, is that building food motivation. But I really do believe that if you're working on building focus and engagement, you're working on building food motivation and walking nicely in new environments, you are on the right track, okay? So let's talk about walking nicely. This is not healing, okay? This is not healing. This is where we're teaching a polite walk. Like the dog is walking nicely next to you, but he's not in heel position. He can still sniff. He can still go to the bathroom. I talked about this in last week's video where I talked about using a harness versus a collar to help your dog distinguish the difference here. But in order for you to go out and do socialization with your dog, he has to walk on a leash for safety, for laws, for all the things, right? And in order to keep you safe and to not create bad habits in your dog, you want to be teaching your dog right from the beginning how to walk nicely in these places. So socialization, again, we have loads of resources here, as well as that 2-hour webinar that you can get your hands on. Details are below. Socialization is the biggest thing that you can do, but in order to socialize correctly, your dog already needs some focus skills, he needs some food motivation, and he needs to know how to walk politely on a leash, which is not the same thing as healing. Now, on the topic of healing and walking nicely, we will have numerous videos coming out over the next 6 weeks on this very topic here on the channel, over on our Facebook page, and we're going to be holding a free healing workshop this time around as we go to open the doors to our academy this summer. So if you are wanting more information on walking politely, how to train a polite walk, or how to train and problem solve healing, stay tuned here on YouTube because we are going to have a bunch of videos coming out on this very topic. Make sure that you check below so that you can sign up for the workshop, get on our email list so that you don't miss anything, and you can find the details for our socialization webinar, as well as a new webinar that we're going to be teaching on Monday. Let me double check. The 17th, Monday the 17th, we will be teaching a fundamentals webinar live. And so you can get all those details below, and the replay will be available afterwards. And we're going to really go in depth on what foundation training looks like and how to do it in a way that is the most effective and as efficient as possible so that you are creating a super solid foundation for your dog to continue your service dog's training as you move forward. So if you have any questions about this, the best place to ask them is in our free Facebook group, Train Your Service Dog with Confidence, and you can find links to everything down below.